Today, the whole world is in acute grip of fear due to the coronavirus, which has been termed as COVID-19. It started quite recently, practically at the beginning of this year, 2020. In the Wuhan city of China, they detected this virus, and immediately China actually quarantined the whole city. Somehow they recognized the danger of this virus, and within a short time the death toll reached to about 3,000, and more than 80,000 people are affected. They claim that due to their timely action, this did not spread so widely, but still this virus started to spread in other parts of the world also. Italy, Iran, South Korea were the first few places to be affected. And then it also spread through Germany, France. In America also there had been some cases, and there is an acute threat looming over the world today due to this COVID-19. And naturally, people all over the world are in acute fear of this pandemic. If we look at the history, this epidemic or pandemic is not really new, and millions of people have died in the past. One of the biggest catastrophe was caused by bubonic plague, which was termed as the Black Death. In Europe alone, it claimed about 50 to 100 million lives. It is not so accurate as such. That's why there is a consideration 50 to 100 million, because those days they could not take those numbers that accurately. And in Russia alone, 1 million people died of this plague. Then there was cholera. India was under the grip of cholera epidemic. Then it spread through the other parts of Asia, Europe, South America, causing millions of deaths. The World Health Organization, WHO, has declared even now, every year, about 1.3 to 4 million people die of cholera. Then there had been diseases like smallpox, there had been typhoid, and although these epidemics were quite threatening at one time, but fortunately antidotes or vaccines have been created, and those epidemics have been brought under control. And they're not really posing such a threat to anymore, but still they're claiming millions of lives every year. In the recent past also, the world has been affected by epidemics, and that spread like pandemics, spread all over the world, had been like HIV, which is known as AIDS, that started in late 20th century and claimed millions of lives. That also didn't have any cure. Even after finding some cure, as late as in 2017, about 1.3 million people died of AIDS. Then there had been SARS, and now recently we are facing the threat of this coronavirus. But one thing we can see that compared to the danger that the other epidemics posed in the past, this coronavirus is not really that dangerous or that devastating. Like coronavirus, so far, the death rate actually is something like 3.4%. In China alone, about 86,000 people have been affected, and the death rate is about 2,900 only, which is about less than 2% in China. Another thing that has been recorded, that only the elderly people are actually contacting this disease. Young people and the children are not really contacting, and the death is mostly old people, those who had some sort of difficulties. So anyway, like there must be some devastating danger that they are anticipating. That's why the whole world is under the grip of such a caution, such a threat, such a fear. Like UNESCO, World Health Organization, different medical bodies are anticipating that something must be very, very dangerous about this. And also China's action in their own country, the kind of action they took that practically destroyed their economy. They knew, like in China, the car sales had dropped by 80%. Their economy has dropped nationally by 17 to 30%. And in future, who knows what's going to happen? Like everyone now is deadly afraid of China, and that this can be spread from there. It's the concern and the actions that they're taking is simply to ban that country. And not only China, today many countries have been banned. Like airlines travel practically stopped. Like recently I flew from America to India, and I noticed Dubai airport, which was bustling all the time, is practically empty. The flights are empty. And it is said that due to this, the airlines is going to face a loss of 65 to 110 billion dollars. The entertainment industry, restaurants, hotels are going to suffer a massive loss due to that. So anyway, it is causing such an anxiety and fear in the minds of the people. But the question is, what do we do? Why is this fear? This fear is mainly because they haven't found any antidote. They didn't find any vaccine or something that would counteract the disease as of yet. So that's why people are in acute anxiety. If one gets it, how one is going to deal with it. Now it's natural that people tend to depend upon somebody. They want to find some solace, getting some shelter somewhere. In cases like that, people tend to depend upon the doctors or medical science, but they cannot depend on them because they haven't really found the antidote. So at a time like this, intelligent people, intelligent class of people will take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. God is one. He may be identified as Allah, Jehovah, God, or Bhagavan. So it doesn't matter where one is situated. One can simply depend upon Him and pray to Him for His shelter and find the solace and safety. And God is there if one properly tries to find him, there are enough informations to find out who he is and how to approach him. And another consideration is that in this world, whoever is born is bound to die. And there is no guarantee when death may come. Any time death may come to anyone. So let us face the reality and face death with proper attitude. There is a saying that a coward dies many times, but a brave man dies only once. So why die many times out of our fear and anxiety? Let us face it when it will come, and let us try to avoid death with our intelligence. Like, for example, if a bus is running, and if we just come in front of the bus, we'll be run over by the bus and we'll die. So our intelligence says, don't cross the road now, let the bus go by, and then you cross the road. There is burning fire, and if we enter into that fire, we'll be burnt. Our intelligence says, don't go there because we'll get burnt. This is how our intelligence prevents us from apparent conditions of death. As a matter of fact, life is a constant struggle against death. Death grips us from the time of our birth. We are breathing in and breathing out. When we breathe out, actually the soul is tending to go out, leave the body. But the pranavayu, prana, there are 5 kinds of air: pran, apan, saman, van and udan. And pranavayu is bringing the soul or keeping the soul back into the body. The soul is trying to go out and prana is holding it back. And then finally, at one point, prana cannot keep the soul in the body anymore, then the soul lives. And that's why in Indian languages, Hindi, Sanskrit or Bengali, we say prana has left. In that respect, in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a very wonderful anecdote. It's called Gajendra Mokshan. Gajendra is the king of the elephants, and how the king of the elephant was delivered. Mokshan means delivered. So the story or the anecdote goes, once this king of elephants, Gajendra, went to sport in the water. And in the water there was a crocodile. As soon as the elephant came into the water, the crocodile grabbed the elephant by its feet, and a struggle ensued. The crocodile was trying to drag the elephant within the water. And although the elephant is very strong, maybe much stronger than the crocodile, but elephant is a creature of the land and crocodile is the creature of water, so the crocodile was more powerful. And eventually the crocodile dragged the elephant within the mid-water. And when the elephant realized that it's going to die, it offered his prayers to the Lord. And the Lord immediately came. One great saint, Surdas, actually described that incident. That Abato Jibana Hare, now the life is coming to an end. The elephant now has become defeated. He Govinda, He Gopal, Rakha Sharana, Abato Jibana Hare. Now I'm going to lose my life. Hey Govinda, please accept my pranam, accept my prayers, accept my obeisances. And immediately Dwarka se chale Gopal. Krishna, Gopal, immediately came from Dwarka, flying on his carrier Garuda, Garuda ke bichare. And Chakra se graho ko mari, Gajaraj ko udhari. with his chakra, with his disc, he severed the head of the crocodile and rescued the Gajendra, the king of elephants. So that is the safest action to take. When you realize that the death has come, just remember the Lord. Ante Narayana Smriti. At the end of the life, make it a point to remember Narayan. Make it a point to remember Krishna. Then he will come and he'll rescue you. Have that confidence. So he is our ultimate shelter. So the safest course of action is to take shelter of him. Life is a constant struggle. The soul, the living entity, is coming from the spiritual world. The soul has been identified here with the king of the elephant. Soul is from the spiritual world. But to sport, to enjoy himself, he comes to this material nature, which is a foreign place for him. And as soon as he comes here, death immediately grabs him. And a struggle ensues. The death tries to kill, and the soul struggles to remain alive. And eventually, one is defeated. Chara prahara juddha bhayo, le gayo majidhare. For 4 prahars through the entire life, one struggles, and then finally he is defeated. He is dragged into the mid-water. Naka kana dubana lage, Krishna ke pukare. He begins to drown. He starts to drink water from his nose and mouth. And at that time he remembers Krishna, offers his prayers, asking for his shelter. And Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all cognizant, who is present everywhere, and he knows everything. When one prays to him, the Lord listens to his prayer and responds, and he comes to rescue the one who sought shelter at his feet. So, the important thing is that human being must use his intelligence and recognize these facts, the presence of the Lord and how we can develop our relationship with him, and what is the benefit when we take shelter of him. At a time like this, when there is such acute crisis and everyone is in the grip of such fear, the best course of action is to surrender unto him and take shelter of him. So at a time like this, let us all take shelter of his lotus feet. Death will come, but let us face that situation. If at all it comes, whenever it comes, take shelter of him and rest assured that he will take care of you. He will save you, he will rescue you, no matter how dangerous the calamity may appear to be. So I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.